Hello everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. My name is Mo. I'm Customer Success Lead here at Baselane. Joining us on the panel today, we have Reed Northland, who is our Head of Banking at Baselane. We're very excited about today's webinar as we will be focusing on one of our newer features, which is Baselane Banking. For today's agenda, we will be covering the benefits of Baselane Banking, showcasing in a live environment how the features all work together, and we will open up the last 10 minutes or so for any questions. If you have any product-specific questions or even any general questions about Baselane, please feel free to type your questions in at the bottom of your Zoom bar in the Q&A section. Please note that this webinar is going to be recorded, and I will be sending out the recorded presentation to everyone on this call. Reed, over to you now.
Thanks, Mo. So I'll go a little bit over, just some specific highlights that we see value on the Baselane Banking product. Before I dive in, for context, we launched our Baselane Banking product, in early March this year. We've had a bunch of interest over the last year from our customers to launch this product. This is a core feature of Baselane, and we've seen a bunch of folks start to adopt it. And so what I wanted to do before we actually jump into the live demo is share some of the use cases that we've seen customers using Baselane Banking, and also address some of the more common questions that we receive as part of when new customers start using Baselane Banking. Mo, you can see my screen, right?
Yep, we can.
So I think the first piece to highlight is just the ability to make dedicated accounts for each property, whether that's an operating account, security deposits, a dedicated account for rehab savings. You can do this all online very quickly for free. So I'll run through a couple of examples of how that works. But here's an example of a customer that might have an LLC that owns a duplex, and they can quickly create two accounts for one each unit, a separate account for security deposits and another for rehab savings. And Mo's going to actually show this within the product later. I'll just show some of the more I think high level context for how this could work. Here's another example of a customer that would have two LLCs, each LLC having different properties that they own. And so they could have an LLC with three single family homes and one with a quadplex, and have separate accounts for each of those properties, for each of those units, and obviously separate entirely banking accounts for each LLC to keep all the financials separated. I think the other piece that we really wanted to focus on for our customers was to offer rewards in the form of cashback as well as interest for the Baselane Banking customers. And so we offer 1% cashback on all debit card spend. I don't think you really see that in any other, bank on the debit card side of things. That debit card is directly linked to obviously, the bank account that you set up and other tools within the Baselane platform. And then we currently offer 13 times the national average for the APY interest on your account. As the Fed will continue to increase the rates, we will continue to match that. And so we expect, this stat to maintain significantly competitive above what you get from typical banks today. I alluded to this very briefly, but Baselane is a lot more than just banking. We also offer other property finance tools directly in the platform. And I think part of the vision of what we're bringing to the customers is connecting your banking accounts and your debit card to all of these other features. And so you can do bookkeeping within Baselane. You can tag all your transactions to schedule categories to streamline time once it comes to file taxes. And so if you actually have Baselane Banking, you can have dedicated accounts and dedicated cards for specific types of expenses. So you can very easily account for that. We also have cash flow analytics. So we have a dashboard that very quickly shows, in a given month, are you positive or negative? What are, the types of expense categories you have within each month. So you can just at a quick glance understand your performance. We're also creating, income statements by property and portfolio. Again, the goal is here, both at the portfolio level, understand how you're performing at a financial level, but also at a property level, and be able to disentangle, performance. You might have some properties that are performing better than others. We also offer online rent collection at no cost to the landlord or tenant, which is entirely online. Tenants can pay via bank or debit card or credit card, and they can also set up auto pay. We have a notification system as well to notify both parties when rent is coming up due, when it might be overdue, and also charge late fees, etc. We also partner with insurance providers and lending providers, so you can get quotes and insurance policies or loans entirely online. And so I think what we're actually seeing is a lot of folks leaving money on the table by not getting a regular a quote. It can be just a burdensome process, especially if you're having to go in person or go have a phone call. And so we streamline that process to be able to get these quotes in minutes and allow you to make the best decision for your property and your business, if it makes sense for you to switch to a new provider. I alluded to this a little bit earlier, but our bank is compatible for all entity types. And so I covered LLCs. Of course, if you don't have an LLC and are investing as an individual, we cover that type of entity as well. We cover corporations and we cover partnerships. Baselane is free and Baselane Banking is free. So this is one of the more common questions we receive from our customers, is just wanting to understand, will there be any costs for using Baselane and Baselane Banking? And so our banking service has no hidden fees, there's no minimum balance, there's no monthly fees, and no ACH transfer fees. And so, when you open a bank that's free, there's no credit check on your score either. And I think the last piece just to highlight is, we wanted to make this both provide convenience and peace of mind. And so the debit card that you have can be connected to a Google Pay, an Apple Pay. It is a Visa debit card, and so it has the protection of Visa services. And the bank account itself is FDIC insured up to $250,000. And so your money is safe with that insurance. So I've provided a little bit of the sort of high level pieces, but I would love to hand it over to Mo to share a demo. I know we have had some folks join while I was running through that, but just, I think a quick recap. This is recorded, so we will send, the full version offline afterwards. I'm gonna hand it over to Mo. Mo will give, probably a 10 to 15 minute demo of our Baselane Banking, product and interface. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to send them in the chat. We'll have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the webinar. So Mo, I'll hand it over to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Reed. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Just give me one moment. All right, just to verify, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So with Baselane, you can do many of the key activities that Reed basically has touched upon related to managing your financials of your rental properties. So you can collect rent, you can manage your bookkeeping, you can view your financial performance, and lastly, you can manage all of your banking in one place. Since this webinar is focused more on the banking with Baselane, we're going to head over to our banking and cards page first. So from the banking and cards page, you can see both your Baselane banking accounts, as well as any other external connected accounts you may have connected from other financial institutions. So this includes banks and credit cards to give you a holistic view of your financials. We use Plaid, by the way, to facilitate these connections in a secure way. If anyone's not familiar with Plaid, they are the industry leading standard for connecting financial applications to companies like us. They connect with over 11,000 different financial institutions. They really are the most secure and the best that's currently in the market. So as we mentioned before, opening a Baselane banking account is free and takes about a minute or so, about 2 minutes or so to open up the application. Applying and opening a Baselane account does not affect your credit score in any way as well. So to get started, first thing we're going to do is actually click on Add Account on the top right and choose the Open Baselane Banking Account option. So we're just going to click on Open Baselane Banking Account. So you'll have two options basically to open up a Baselane Banking account. You can either open an account as a sole proprietor or as a business entity, which includes LLCs, corporations, or partnerships. If you select the sole prop application, which we're going to quickly demo it here, so you'll be asked for a few identifying information about yourself so that we can run the required identity checks. It is a fairly standard process. Most of the information is kind of typical, and it takes about a minute or so to fill in. Just as an FYI, we do use the physical address that you input in your application to mail you your debit card. So if for any reason this is not something that you wanted, just please make sure to kind of let us know through chat or by emailing us, just to letting us know that the mailing address may be different than what you've inputted in your physical application. So, I mean, pretty standard stuff. You're gonna just input the information, agree with it, submit. It does take a couple of minutes for our banking partner to review, and hopefully within about 4 business hours or so, they'll be able to kind of approve it for you. The other type of application that you are able to submit is more of a business entity. So looking into that really quickly, so you'll be asked to include more of incorporation details of your company, which kind of includes your EIN, so your employment identification number, as well as some identifying information about one of the officers of the business. This is very similar to what you see in a sole proprietor application in regards to filling out the individual's information. And as I said before, depending on what you applied for, it can take up to 4 business hours for our partner bank to review the application and hopefully be able to approve it as well. So I'm just going to quickly go back to our banking cards page. So now that we've seen how to open a Baselane banking account, the next step really is to showcase some of the features that comes in it. So so as you can see, I have a couple right now open. So I'm going to go into my West Hill Properties banking account so I can showcase a little bit more of the features that come with it. So in my West Hill Properties bank account, you can see here that I have 2 virtual accounts already set up. One is for security deposits and one is for kitchen refurbishments. So note that each of these virtual accounts does have its own account number. Virtual accounts are a simple, powerful feature of Baselane banking. It allows you to keep your finances organized and your funds separated. Virtual accounts are free and can be opened instantly with pretty much a click of a button without submitting another application.
Thanks, Mo. I think like the other 2 things I'll highlight here is many of our customers today sort of view the best practice for a given property to have 3 to 4 accounts. So an operating account dedicated for security deposits. You might have an account if you have other partners dedicated for payouts for them, and then an account as we have here, for example, to save for a specific project. In this case, it's a kitchen refurbishment. Some folks like to use it for maintenance reserves. I think you'll show that in a moment, Mo. But it is very I think like the most common request we see is just being able to easily create multiple accounts for a given property online. I think the other piece I'll mention is today you have and will receive a physical debit card for your main account, and you'll see how Mo is hovering over that green icon indicates that account is tied to your physical card. We will also be launching virtual cards in the next couple of months, which will allow you to create any number of cards that could be associated with any your main account or your virtual accounts. Again, the rationale there is most common request is to be able to create a virtual card that is specific to one type of expense. That way, anytime there's spend on that card, it's automatically categorized to a specific Schedule E category and or specific property. Mo, I'll hand it over to you back to you to sort of show how to open additional virtual accounts.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for pointing that out. I mean, as a user of the product, like myself, I honestly can't wait for virtual cards. It's such a handy feature, and it's really going to make things a lot simpler in terms of organizing and like funding, etc. So to create a virtual account, it's a pretty simple process as well. The first thing we basically do is click on Add Virtual Account on the top right. Next, we enter in a nickname for this specific one. The reason why we input a nickname is so that you can easily kind of identify what this virtual account is going to be used for. So I'm going to use the same example that Reed kind of just gave us, which is a maintenance reserve account, which is actually something we see quite often. If this virtual account is going to be associated with a property or a unit, we always highly recommend enabling the option to auto tag all transactions for this account to a property. Basically saves you significant amount of time, keeps your transactions organized, etc. In case you were not sure, all of your transactions do appear in your transactions page, which is located on your left-hand side navigation bar. So the last step here is just to agree to, I'm just gonna say it's gonna point to my San Bernardino duplex property. And the last step here is to actually just agree to the terms and conditions and add your virtual account. Once you create your virtual account, the next step really is so now that we have opened up a Baselane Banking account, we've opened up our virtual accounts, the next step is to actually see how we can fund these accounts as we require. So basically the first thing we're going to do is actually add funds into one of our accounts. And to do so, we're going to click on add funds on the top right. And there are two ways to deposit funds into your Baselane Banking account. You can either add funds directly by bank transfer, or you can also add funds by using check deposit, which is a feature that is coming really soon.
Yeah. I think the other pieces that we've also seen, these are the two ways that you can actually initiate that transfer from within Baselane, but we have seen customers initiate transfers other ways. And so you can actually send a wire from any domestic bank account into Baselane. You can actually initiate a transfer from another banking account. So let's say your Chase account, you can initiate a bank ACH transfer from that account and have it received, into your Baselane account. You can send money from a digital wallet, such as PayPal or Venmo, and that'll be deposited into your Baselane account within 1 to 3 days. And then I think the last piece just to highlight is also just using rent collection through Baselane to fund your account. And so you can actually, have your tenants' payments come directly into your Baselane account to have it funded and sort of just automatically benefit from the high interest that we offer on our deposit accounts.
Awesome. I will be touching a little bit more on the rent collection part, specifically for if any of the landlords have already created a rent collection and they're looking to actually change or edit their receiving bank accounts. So we will be going over that as well later. Thanks, Reed, for that. So yeah, to continue on adding funds into your Baselane account, the first thing we're going to do is just click on bank transfer. And note that you will need to have an actual connected account to Baselane via the secure plat connection to enable bank transfers. So the next thing we do is basically just fill in the information, the transfer from. So which account are you going to be transferring from? Let's say I'm going to be transferring from my Chime Bank. The next step is to choose which account we want to deposit it to. Let's just say my main account. And then finally, what is the actual transfer amount? So in my case, I'm just going to put $10 for the sake of this webinar. Then really quickly, pretty much review the transfer, make sure that everything is correct and this is exactly what you wanted to do. Then you can go ahead and click on add funds. Sometimes you will be asked to actually verify your account via SMS. I'm not going to do that right now just for the sake of time purposes, and my phone's a little far away from me. So we're just going to skip the step and just move forward. So basically we've seen how to add funds and etc. The last step that I want to showcase here is basically how to actually send funds or make internal transfers. And to do so, what we do is we click on the send funds or internal transfer button on the top right. And there's two ways of making transfers. So first thing we do is select the type of transfer we want to make. You can either transfer funds between your Baselane banking accounts, which does occur instantly, or you can transfer to an external connected account, which can take up to 3 business days. The process for both is actually really, really similar. And we'll just quickly kind of showcase how that works as well.
Yeah, I think the other piece is these are the current features that are live. Other pieces that are coming in the pipeline shortly are, being able to send a wire transfer directly from within Baselane to another account, and also being able to send payments to third parties. So whether that's a contractor or another individual, being able to send them, a bank ACH transfer or have them be mailed a check. And so those will be features that, we'll also be rolling out here.
Perfect. But yeah, I'm not going to go through the exact steps. It's exactly what we've seen to add funds. It's just, the same fields, which account you'll be depositing from, where is it transferring from? What is the transfer amount, etc. And one last thing to note here actually about this is that any transfers that you do make, so for example, I did make a few transfers today, you'll be able to see, for example, really quickly that, everything does show up in your transactions ledger here as well for under the specific bank account. So you are able to categorize them if you ever wanted to. You can, just it's very similar to how your other transactions work. This works the exact same principle. So one of the other features that we kind of touched a little bit upon, which is rent collection within Baselane, and I do want to go over that really quickly. So we have recently pushed an update that does allow landlords to edit the bank accounts connected to your existing rent collection setup. I wanted to spend a little time here showing you just basically how to actually select which banking account your tenants' rent payments and security deposits get sent to. You can now basically choose to directly collect rent and security deposits into your banking accounts or virtual accounts. So to do so, we're gonna go ahead and go into our rent collection page, again, located on the left-hand side navigation bar. And we're actually gonna click on a property that is currently collecting rent. So here you can see I have 3 properties. My San Bernardino currently does have an occupied tenant. I can see that everything is current, which is great, meaning I don't have anything overdue on this account. Not that it really matters, just it's just always nice to see. And what I'm going to do here is that on this specific unit, I'm going to click on the 3 little dot menu and click on View Details. So when you click on View Details, you get to pretty much see the details of the lease that you've set up originally. So here you can see the tenant details, you can see the lease terms, you can see the deposits and fees, as well as the receiving bank account. Under receiving bank accounts, you'll see that there's now an edit option on the top right, which I'm going to click on. And here you can see exactly, it's pretty straightforward, just like how you set up how you set it up originally. You kind of have the same option. So I can click now on my receive rent and fees bank account, and I can choose any of my main accounts, connected accounts, or even virtual accounts if I needed to, if I wanted to as well. So in this case, I actually want this to go into my West Hill Properties main account. And then for the security deposit, we did create a security deposit virtual account, which is what I wanted to go into as well. Some states do require you to have a separate security deposit account, and all of our virtual accounts are interest bearing as well. So we do fit into that criteria pretty well. So in this case, I completed what I wanted to edit. I'm going to go ahead, click on save, and yes, agree that I wanted to change this information. So that's pretty much it. Now that we've finished it, there's no further action required on your end, and you can basically exit back to your desired screen. In our case, we're just going to head over to our dashboard page. And that's pretty much actually all I had to present and showcase today. So I mean, thank you so much for everyone that did join us. And just as a quick reminder, if anyone did end up joining us a little bit late, you will receive a recorded webinar to pretty much everyone that did register to this demo into this webinar. So I mean, if we hope you found this webinar informative and a good use of your time. I will go ahead now and take a look and see if there's any questions in the Q&A chat. Again, if you do have any questions that you have not had a chance to ask yet, please feel free to enter in the Q&A section at the bottom. We'll make sure we get to that. And if you're basically, as you're kind of going into this and hopefully creating your accounts and setting up your new rent collection and banking accounts, if you do remember that you do have any questions or anything does come up, please feel free to email us or chat with us. You can email us at support@baselane.com, or you can always chat with us through the in-app chat functionality within Baselane website or the Baselane application, and you'll come to me and my team, and we'll be more than happy to help. So we're quickly just going to look and see if there's any Q&A chats.
I saw one with regards to how Baselane earns money. I provided some context in the chat. But like Baselane Banking is just one of the components that we offer. We do generate revenue through deposits and through card spend that doesn't come out of from our customers. Very typical of how banks generate revenue. But we also have a bunch of other features, right? So we touched on rent collection, bookkeeping, insurance lending, and we'll launch more, right? So there is other property management software out there today. We really want to focus on the aspects that are revolve around like the financial management of your properties, as well as anything tied very close to that, which is, as an example, like rent collection and dealing with the renters. So that is the additional stream of revenue that we create. So thanks Sarah for that question. And again, this is just we've just highlighted Baselane Banking there are other features that are, folks are actively using us for. So rent collection, bookkeeping, etc. Mo's great at providing, additional demos on that. So if anyone, would like a demo, you can always, schedule one with Mo just by using our in-product chat functionality.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you, Reed. And just to clarify, the question that Reed just answered was basically, how does Baselane earn money if there are so many features that are currently free? And I mean, that was a great summary of basically how we're looking to actually, our business model, etc. I do not see any other questions right now in our Q&A chat. As I said before, if anything does come up, please email us, chat with us, let us know. I'd be more than happy to give you a full demo of our Baselane platform as well. And you can easily set something up with us through the in-app chat. We have a bunch of links there that you can schedule a demo directly. And that's it for today, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time and joining us. I hope you had this. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And as always, thank you very much. Talk to you guys soon, hopefully. Take care. Bye.